Now, this wasn't absolutely mortifying to me because I had some top secret info on Area 51 in my emails. My thing was this.
Imagine they scroll through your email and they see your OF subscription. My fault. My fault. It's because we just watched a video about Bonnie Blue. So it's just like at the top of my fault. My fault. It's gonna be chat, and we are reacting to a video for the one, the only, the homie, Jalen. Confessions of a Chick-fil-A employee. Let's get into it.
I made this whole entire thing up. The title and thumbnail are clickbait. The story and any receipts I show are 100,000 million% fake, and I've never worked at Chick-fil-A a day in my life. I repeat, I have never worked at Chick-fil-A a day in my life. And
where are you getting your sources? What do you mean? A stable relationship. It's not because of me though. I promise.
Story is fake. So to all the people on Chick-fil-A's legal team watching this, thinking they're about to get a lawsuit out of me, just
oh, she's making it clear for the lawsuit. Yeah, no, I've had a stable relationship mad times.
No, you aren't, because for the 1,000th time, I made this all up, and this story is fake. So this story actually took place this past summer, aka the summer before I went off to college. And being more than determined to beat the broke college student stereotype, I was hungrier for a bag than ever. And I'd heard through the grapevine that the Chick-fil-A pay was good. So of course I'm going on TikTok to do some research.
You know whose pay is good? Costco. Yo, they're paying people like 40. I might say F the streaming shit and go to Costco, gang. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm in the wrong line, bro. I'm trying to get in my bag. I need to bag some groceries. No cap, bro. No cap.
I was seeing employees having literal mental breakdowns over working there. And initially seeing this, I was just like, please, y'all just being dramatic and aren't serious about that. So of course I applied for the job, and a few days later I was in the chair, seated for an interview. And of course I Googled and practiced every question, but then the stuff that I was getting asked was completely out of left field. So me being me doing what I do, I just start pulling stuff out my butt. And I could tell these interviewers were eating everything and everything I was saying up. Because every time I finished talking, they looked at each other with their brows, it's like, and then start writing stuff down. And in my head, I was just like, So the interview finished, I shook both their hands, and I walked out knowing that the bag had been secured. So it came to no surprise when a few days later, I got a text telling me that they wanted me to join the team. And being the bag chaser that I am, of course I accepted the offer. And a few days later, I was called in by one of the managers to come in and do some paperwork. And during this time, we were talking, and she had asked if I thought I was gonna get the job. And I was trying to be a thug about it, but I couldn't, and ended up just being like, yeah. Now for some very important context, right? During the interview, I had acrylic nails on, and I'm an extremely expressive person, as seen whenever I get on the internet to yap. I talk a lot with my hands, and I was doing all the same in the interview. And then, like, paperwork, which again, the lady who interviewed me was the manager, I still had my nails on, and my piercing was visible, and she didn't say or do anything to indicate that they would be a potential problem. And to back up even more, when I was doing my TikTok research, I was seeing people work there who had bigger piercings and longer nails than mine. So I was under the impression that I was going to be in the all clear. Anyways, my first day comes, and when I pulled up in my head, I was just like, I'm so nervous. But in an excited way, you know. However, the millisecond my—
Hey Jay, I just want to take a time out to say that I mess with your animation, twin. You going crazy. I'm not gonna lie. This is fire. I'm not gonna lie. Welcome to the community if I haven't said so before, but this is my first time seeing your channel. This is actually a fire video. Fire video, bro.
From a future coworker way, you know. However, the millisecond my big toe even hit the entrance, and I saw who my future coworkers were gonna be, my spidey senses were immediately kicking in. Because when they greeted me and told me to wait around for a bit until they were ready for me or whatever, the smiles were more on the culty than welcoming side. And the girl who was in charge of training me, who we're just gonna refer to as Op, introduces herself to me, gives me my uniform, and tells me that when I go to the bathroom to change, to put my hair in a bun, and also take my piercing out. Not even tuck it in, but take it out. And after I changed and looked into the mirror—
Can you do that?
First of all,
you could just take that out? I don't know how septums work. You could just take out the septum? You don't gotta get like surgery for that? I'm dumb? I'm stupid? I don't really know how septums work. I ain't know you could just— oh shit. You learn something new every day.
Excuse my French.
It's like a screw.
But I was gonna be serving more in this uniform than food. Like I was serving some serious CUNT. But anyways, looking into the mirror, I could already see the life in my eyes starting to leave. And all the nerves—
Dang, you know why I like her videos off rip? Like she's not giving shy animator, introverted. She like, oh no, I'm kind of the shit and I animate, like here's my vibe. Yo, she cool, I ain't gonna lie. Hi, I'm happy to have you in the space.
Initially out of excitement, we're now just out of
Stanley
nervousness
feet
alone.
revealed.
Now at this point I'm at the bathroom. And
Ooh,
before we
dude.
can start orientation, I had to download this app, but to do so, my phone had to get its most recent update. And because I'm a procrastinator when it comes to that, my phone was not. And the phone policy here was extremely strict. And for the duration of your shift, you're expected to have your phone locked up all the way in the back. Even looking at your Apple Watch for any longer than a millisecond was a big no-no. And for that reason, I had to have my phone face up flat on the counter as it updated. Phone updates, and then Op emails me a link. And again, thanks to the phone policy, the phone was face up flat on the counter as I looked for said email, which for whatever reason wasn't showing up. And Op also peeps this. And instead of, I don't know, trying to email it to me again, this girl starts scrolling through my emails. Now this wasn't absolutely mortifying to me because I had some top secret info on Area 51 in my emails. My thing was, this
Imagine they scroll through your email and they see your OF subscription. My fault. My fault. It's because we just watched a video about Bonnie Blue. So it's just like at the top of my fault. My fault.
girl was approximately 3 scrolls away from seeing a notification of any AR3 fanfiction that I had bookmarked getting updated. But the email ended up being in my spam folder, crisis averted, and now it's finally time to start orientation. But before I can even start, Op says to me, "You have to take your nails off." And the way that she was saying it, she was expecting me to do that
That's
on the
crazy.
spot. And excluding the fact that it's impossible, unless you want a bloodbath, that's something that you can't do with acrylics. And obviously in a more polite way, I tell her as much. And she goes, "Well, since today's your first day, you get a pass. But when you come in tomorrow, they need to be off." Mind you, I was working 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. this day and the same the next. And excluding the fact that I had bills to pay, places to be, just all around things to do when I clocked off that day, it is already so difficult to squeeze in a last minute nail appointment, let alone with the time frame that I was being given.
Imagine going to work and then being like, yeah, so tomorrow make sure you don't got a fresh cut, man. Yeah, so yeah, we actually have a no fresh cut policy. Come in, make sure your joint is mad uneven tomorrow. Matter of fact, sit down. Like, I know it sucks. I'm not gonna lie. I get the idea behind it is like because it could cause like, it's either A, cross contamination with food because maybe they're harder to clean or something, or B, they could fall into the food. You get what I'm saying? But I think no acrylics is crazy. I think at least like medium to small acrylic should be fathomable.
Which again, in a more polite and corporate way, I tell her as much. But then I also out on the fact that when I come in on Saturday,
Take
which
your
was my
drip
next
off.
shift for Tuesday, that they'd be off. So as you can see here, I am by no means trying or even being difficult. I'm giving a solution to the problem. I'm putting the conflict resolution skills that I put on my resume to work. And Hop just looks at me and says, "Well, if you come in tomorrow and you're still on, you're getting written up."
What?
I didn't hear that.
And to those words, I felt my heart slide all the way down to my cheeks in real time. Because what do you mean? I'm not even an hour into my first day on the job
And
I'm
already got
on the
threat?
verge of getting written up. All I responded with was, "Okay, I'll see what I can do." But from that point on, I knew I was not gonna like this girl and we were not gonna get along. So
I'm not gonna lie, gang. Y'all not seeing me tomorrow. Y'all not seeing me tomorrow, man. Hey, bro, I'm overly at, what's Chick-fil-A's direct competitor? I'm overly at Chipotle, gang. I'm overly at Panera, bro. I'm overly at Panda Express, gang. I promise you Popeyes is not Chick-fil-A's. I promise you they're not. I promise you they're not, bro. I promise you they're not.
for real this time, I'm finally able to start scrolling through the stupid orientation. And let me just say, I love me some Jesus. Me and him, we are locked in #.
Amen.
But I had to watch 8 or 10 videos, right? And at the start of every single one of them, they would reiterate the purpose of Chick-fil-A and its employees, that being to be the best steward that we could be to Jesus Christ, over and over and over again, to the point where it was just getting straight up cold. And on the next
that is
page,
kinda
there's lists of
nice.
words that we couldn't say and what to say in place of them. Now these
Type
banned
shit?
words weren't cuss words,
Oh.
slurs, or any sort of hate speech. They'd be your average everyday sayings, such as "of course" and "you're welcome." And Op explains that this is because, unlike McDonald's, we actually pride ourselves on hospitality and customer service. And I don't know if this was a Chick-fil-A wide thing, or it was just my location.
I've known 2 shorties and one man who's worked at Chick-fil-A. The man doesn't handle like customer service side, but the shorties have always told me the same thing about how insanely tense and stressed out that they be about saying the right words and things like that. Literally just saying the right word with the wrong tones, right up. No cap, bro. I couldn't work there. I know I couldn't, bro. I'm a very nice and polite person off rip, but I'm nice and polite in my own way. I can't be nice and polite like they want me to be for 8 hours a day. That just won't happen.
But even during the interview, McDonald's was collecting strays from the managers. But because of how much better Chick-fil-A is than McDonald's, when referring to our coworkers, we weren't allowed to say okay. Instead, we had to say heard, like this was some Gordon Ramsay show. And then the next list consisted of appearance things that weren't allowed to fly. And of course, piercings were included in that. And on the next slide, as reviewed, there is a plethora of images of people. And upon clicking on one, you get a Harvard essay as to what was wrong with their appearance, and why. At this point, I was fresh out of high school. Like, I just walked across the stage last week fresh and was more than deserving of a break from any sort of required reading. And these explanations were all self-explanatory common sense. So I skipped to the next slide and keep it pushing. And I guess she figured that I couldn't have read all that fast enough, but let the record show I'm a very fast reader. Finishing a 100,000 word AO prefix in one night is slight work for me. But she puts her finger to the iPad and moves it right back to the last slide. And then goes, no, you have to read every single one of them. Okay.
Boy,
but with that, it was finally time for lunch.
I don't read the terms and conditions that literally change the trajectory of my life because it is giving out my private data. I don't read insurance papers. I don't even know what coverage I got on my whip right now. I don't read how to even take pills properly for when I'm sick. You think I'm finna read everything that you put on that piece of paper, gang, for the freaking Chick-fil-A, John, bro? I'm not doing it, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. She gonna have to open my eyeballs and make me read herself, bro. I'm not gonna lie. She literally gonna have to move my eyelid back and forth to force me to read that, gang. I'm not gonna lie.
And despite not having even done the actual work yet, I was already over this job. Unfortunately, there are no tables for me to decompress and being emo at, so I had to sit with Alt for lunch. And another weird thing about Chick-fil-A is you don't get your own food. You order it, and then your coworkers come and serve it to you, giving you the full customer service experience, cold smile, glaze, and all. Lunch ends, and now it's finally time to start doing some actual work. And I've worked a customer service job before. Needless to say, this was not my first rodeo with the register. However, the job in question was a retail job, and retail and food registers are in completely different cinematic universes. So looking at the format, I'm not gonna lie, it was a tad bit overwhelming. And for once, I was thankful for Op because she was giving him a very detailed rundown of the register. And for the first 10-15 minutes, I was locked the F in. But then she started going over every single possible food combo that could ever exist ever. And the food combo lecture went on for a good, no exaggeration, 45 minutes. But she finally stopped talking and it was time to get to hashtag work. When talking to customers, I would get sayings from my old job and then modify it in a way that would fit Chick-fil-A. Or at least I thought it would fit. What's a good name for the order? You can't say that. Okay. I can say the next person in line. No, you need to say, I can serve the next guest in line. Will that be all for you today? No. You need to say, how else may I serve you today? Like, everything had to be said so meticulously.
It feels very like master slave. You know what I'm saying? How can I serve you? I'm not trying to serve you, bro. I'm trying to put a food in your plate. You know what I'm saying?
Ridiculous. And then, of course, Op hits me.
But I get it, though. I'm being critical. I get it. Especially if I'm the owner of a company and my company is making billions of dollars while being closed one day of the week like no other company is. And I'm looking at it like, this is what got me here. If I hired an employee and I'm like, say the shit. So I know I'm being overly critical, but like the human aspect of me though, bro, I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it.
Keep correcting you on how to say things. You're gonna get written up. Op also wouldn't let me do anything. When taking an order, you get every part of that person's order before you ask them for their name. So I would get a customer, start them off, and then she would swoop in, kick me off, and then would get on me for not asking for their name. Even though she wouldn't even let me get that far to do so. I'd be more understanding if it was packed with everybody and their mama up in there, and if people weren't getting their chicken minis in 0.03 seconds, somebody would start getting ghetto. But there'd be one, maybe two people in line, max. Like, this was by no means rush hour.
Right.
I think she had her C blank A's mixed up, because with how serious she was treating this job, you would have thought it was the CIA. No, girl. This is barely above minimum wage. CFA. But at this point, I'm starting to feel like some serious sugar honey iced tea, and not the Chick-fil-A kind, because I was getting told for the past few hours that I wasn't doing anything right, and not even in a way that was constructive. Like, apologies for not knowing how to do my job on the first day of said job.
That's good though. Let me tell you why that's good though. You come in there, you drop the expectations to the ground. And then over your 1 year tenure, you learn how to do small shit. Like, oh, that's how you put salt on fries? That's crazy. I've been doing that wrong for 2 weeks. Silly me. You know what I'm saying? But now, when it takes you 20 minutes to salt the fries instead of 5, they're like, yo, where'd Jayla go? Where Jayla at? Oh, she salting the fries, you know it take her a little minute. Whole T, you know how to salt the fries. You get it done in 5. Now you got 15 minutes to scroll on your phone on some cool stuff. You know what I'm saying, bro? Hey, bro, when I was working fast food, I'm not gonna lie, I was a hardworking employee. I'm not even gonna lie. I was playing BTA. What the stupidest thing I ever done. Literally, it's just for pride and ego, bro, because I like to say that I'm a hardworking individual. However, In this day and age, hey, bro, go back there, chill, put the nose ring back in, take a couple snaps, selfies, make some TikToks, bro, enjoy your life, no cap.
Say, my pleasure, but it would never be said with enough enthusiasm. I would smile, but it would never be wide enough. And to add on to the smiling part, when I would turn around to make a drink, my smile would drop, because that's customer service 101 right there. And there had to be a camera somewhere, because the millisecond it dropped.
That actually scared me, I'm not gonna lie.
Jalen, why aren't you smiling? Like this was something straight out of 1984. I say with confidence because I definitely read the book when it was assigned and didn't just Google a summary off of Spark Notes. My shift is practically over and Op asked me, okay, so what do you think you did good today? I was good with getting the drinks out quick. Sure. Okay, now...
How you gonna ask me what do I think I was good at and then go, bit.
What do you think you could have improved on? And I knew
Listen, was good.
So I said it. I smile. Yeah. So,
Or
if
V-snack.
people keep telling you to fix your attitude and fix your smile, you're gonna get written up. And with that, my first day was finished, and I said goodbye to everybody.
2 times I was told I was gonna get written up in the first day?
Because if you don't greet all your coworkers when you come in and bid them farewell when you leave, you guessed it. And with a sliver of my sanity still intact,
Wow.
I'm walking out the door, and I hear Op call out to me, make sure you get those nails fixed. And for whatever reason, that was my last straw. One thing about me, when I feel a lot of anything, I cry. So when I'm really happy, I cry. When I'm really sad, I cry. And when I'm really frustrated, I cry. And I was so frustrated. And the whole drive back, I felt so
Damn! Oh my. Nah, that's not funny though. I'm sorry. Damn. Hey. Yeah, eyelashes is on point. Your braids, is those knotless? The contour you used today is giving. I think that fixed the relationship.
So I was like, yes, this pay is sexy AF, but what good is it if I come home like this after every shift? And after a mini crash out on the Finsta and a talk with my parents, I made the executive decision to quit. So later the same day, I pulled back up and did right just that. Went in and asked for a manager, and I will say, not one person was smiling, but whatever. I sit down with one, and obviously she asked me why I'm quitting. I told her everything I told y'all, and trust and believe I was very much name dropping. And I even said straight up that I felt that if I even breathed the wrong way here, I'd get written up. A day or two later, I came back to return the uniform. On the way home, I got Chick-fil-A at a different location, obviously, duh. And on top of nobody smiling, you would never guess what I saw. Moral of the story, the next time you go to a Chick-fil-A, be extra nice to the employees because 9 in 10 chance they're getting tortured in the basement. But thank you so much for watching, and stay blessed. Juicy!
Dang, W video, Jay. I ain't gonna lie. This is my first impression of you. Fantastic channel. Hey, man, when I go to Chick-fil-A next time, I'm gonna make sure that I'm way meaner to employees. Fuck out of here. What you talking about, bro? Extra sauce in the bag. What's wrong with you? What you mean? Yeah, I said 2 sauces at the window, but I need 3 sauces now. I don't care, bro. And don't raise the price either, bro. I'm not paying extra, bro. And say my pleasure. I want to hear. I ain't gonna. Nah, I'm not. I can't be mean to any employees, right? Okay. Hey, man, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure that you like, comment twice. It helps me in the algo. I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye. Peace.